From time to time, I do act, like we all do.
So are you acting at all during this interview?
Divine G, imprisoned at Sing Sing for a crime he didn't commit, finds purpose by acting in a theater group alongside other incarcerated men in the story of resilience, humanity, and the transformative power of art. I have a little bone to pick with A24 before I get into their review because I love them and I love what they have done with the perception of small and indie movies to bring them to a wider audience and even getting these smaller movies Best Picture. But I have to just say that the way that they release movies has to be changed, man. It is getting pretty bad how this movie has, it's supposedly gone wide, but where I'm at, I had to go to a really artsy theater a long ways away just to go see it. This, I kind of compare Neon to A24, and I think Neon does a great job at releasing their movies. Their release windows are great. Open it limited for about 2 weeks, then release it wide, and they usually go pretty wide with their movies. A24 usually they just have not been doing it. Like I struggle to even go see all their movies in theaters, and they wonder why they have such low box office returns. And that's not the point of their studio, but if they want to get bigger, start releasing more movies, I feel like that should be their point. Just look at what they did with Civil War. They released that to a wide audience the first week, and that is one of their biggest movies today. I think that movie almost hit $100 million worldwide. I just think that A24 could do a better job with their release windows for their movies, but that's just a little bone I pick with A24 because I think the way that they do strategize their movies with the Oscars is really terrific. I think they do a great job with that. I think they do a great job with getting people to see their smaller movies, especially on digital, but the way they release in theaters just needs to be fixed. Now on to Sing Sing. As I said in the intro, this is a true story, and it's about the RTA, which stands for Rehabilitations Through the Arts, which is a program that is kind of new. I think it's popped up in the last 10 years, but it's now in 8 prisons across New York for men and women. And according to RTA, less than 3% of its members return to prison after getting out of prison, compared to the national rate of 60% who become, return offenders. Just learning about that statistic, I knew I was in for a beautiful ride. And when I saw the first trailer, I was like, A24 has got another Oscar player on their hands. And yeah, I got to agree. This is easily my second favorite film of 2024, just behind Dune Part 2, because like nothing's going to pass Dune Part 2 at this point. Sing Sing is really terrific and such a special movie. I haven't, it's the most moving film of the year so far, and I haven't been this moved by a movie for a long time. After I got out of this movie, I was just thinking about it, man. I saw this with my friend. We both said we got very teary-eyed during like a couple of scenes in this one. I haven't got teary-eyed during a movie since I saw Banshees of Inisherin in 2022. So I think this is the most moved I've been from a movie since that time. The Iron Claw, I'd say I was pretty moved, but since I don't have any brothers, that movie didn't move me as much as it did for other people. I thought that this movie just discusses some great themes, and man, I was just about to be moved to tears at just like 3 separate scenes in here. I'm not really gonna we'll get into those scenes and at the end, because at the end it does reveal like a lot of the true stories behind this, a lot of the actual footage of these plays that were performed. I thought it was all just very beautiful, and it does it so well because it is based off that true story. It all feels so real and lived in because it was for so many of these people that are in this movie. It's tender and respects the story being told. The conversations about humanity and what it is to be human is talked about a lot in this story, and I felt like it means a lot for this movie, because a lot of people in our world outside of the prisons don't really think of prisoners as human beings. Some people think of them as animals, that just don't belong in our world, that belong to like die in jail or get the death penalty, for just committing a mistake. Sometimes prisoners do terrible things, and they do deserve that. Sometimes prisoners, are committed there and they didn't actually commit the crime. Some people make a small mistake and they're committed there for so many years, and the RTA program makes these people feel welcome again. It makes them feel human again, while also becoming responsible members in a community, which I just think what we should be looking on, and why I think the RTA program should become a bigger thing. It only being in 8 prisons is kind of sucky now that I learned what it is and what it does for these people. And some people can still think that these prisoners don't deserve this, but I think it helps them. It helps them better themselves. Some people do these terrible things in life and go to prison, because they're very bad people. But some people only learn their mistakes from other people and from their parents and all that, from other generations. So sometimes it's not their fault. But I think the RTA program just helps helps them become better people. The theme of art is also present here when the movie is about basically performing plays and all that. It shows us what art can mean to one person, how it can change someone's life, how it can change a group's life, no matter basically the form of art that you're doing. The beauty of art can be life-changing in the most simple way possible and can open up a whole new world to someone, which I just find so great. I think film is an art. Film is such a great art. Movies are great art. TV shows are a great art. And when I started to really get into the art of filmmaking, I became a different person. It really changed my perspective on life and how I approach life and how I approach talking about movies. I think art just really changes a person's mindset as a whole for the better usually. I do kind of want to touch on the topic of leaving prison when prisoners do leave prison, because as I said, the prisoners that join the RTA program have such a low chance going back compared to people that haven't joined or don't have this program, and they develop such big life skills instead of being punished all day and doing other bad things. Because you already know what happens in prisons. People get shanked, people get raped. There's just a lot of terrible things that happen in prison. Gangs get formed and all that. And what this program is doing is basically so important. And I kind of want to compare it to Shawshank Redemption, even though Shawshank's not a true story. But Shawshank Redemption, if you've seen it, I think everyone's seen it by now. You can remember the prisoners are treated harshly there. They're treated terribly. They don't really get to do much. And when Brooks, one of the main older guys in the prison from the library, he gets out and he has basically no community skills. He feels so out of place. He starts working at the grocery store. He doesn't know what to do. I think one of the scenes he has to go to the bathroom and the manager's like, no, you have to keep doing this. And he's so confused about life. He has no, human skills, no talking skills, no skills at all, no working skills at that point. As I said, he feels out of place and it gets so bad he wants to go back to prison, but instead he ends up killing himself. And I understand that prison should be a punishment for people who do these bad things, who do terrible crimes, murder people, rape people. But I think the system is wrong for putting some of these people back into this world with no help at all. I know there are some programs in there to get people help, but there's sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes those little programs aren't enough, and people going back in this real world and not having any skills to go back to, and any big help or any community skills, any of that, I think is just horrible. And I think that's what really got to me, because them learning all this stuff in the RTA program, building community, building life skills, is very helpful for when they get out. And I know some people think they don't deserve it, but personally I think that everyone deserves a second chance no matter what they did. And I feel like the RTA program is a nice way to give someone a second chance. This is directed by Greg Quadar, who I'm not too familiar with, but I thought his style worked on here so well for me. And he does show that he cared so much at bringing this story to life in such a beautiful way. Now let's talk about the cast, which is one of the most special elements about this movie, because in the end credits, you learn that about 10 or more people in this cast are actually playing themselves in these movies, and we're actually in the RTA program in real life. We're in prison doing this program. I thought that was just beautiful that they brought some of these people in this movie that lived this kind of story out. I know there's kind of some changes to the story for the movie, but it was awesome and kind of so emotional seeing that little montage at the end, seeing all these people in this, because there's an audition sequence in the movie where they're auditioning for roles in a play, and a lot of these people were, all those people in this audition scene were actually real life people. I thought that was just brilliant at what they showed here. Colman Domingo, though, was the main star here, and he's just terrific, man. Colman Domingo has been making a mark these past few years. He's very special in this movie. He has one specific scene that, oh my God, brought me to tears with how sad it was. And Colman Domingo last year, he was fantastic in Rustin. It wasn't the greatest movie. I thought his performance though was pretty good. And he's getting cast in a lot of great stuff coming up. And I also thought he was pretty great in Euphoria. I think he's going to be in the next season of Euphoria. I'm not sure, but he was a great supporting performance in that. I just thought in here, he was also so special. He knows how to bring some great emotion, how to balance the emotion with the seriousness, or bring some comedy to his performance. And I thought he did it again. I can't wait to see him in more stuff after this. I do want to talk about Clarence Macklin for a second, because this is also one of the main members who is playing himself in this movie, and he is basically the big supporting performance in the movie as Divine Eye. And I was not expecting this much from him. I'll say that I was not expecting him to move me as much as he does, but damn,
he is so complex in this movie. His character arc is terrific. I do want to kind of explain what his character is doing in this point, but I will say Colm Domingo's character is kind of like one of the founding members of the RTA program in this prison, and Clarence Macklin's character Divine Eye wants to join. And he's kind of wary of it at the beginning. He thinks this is silly, but at the end, he really does become a changed man. And what is really shown between these two characters was just terrific, between Divine Eye and Divine G. Clarence Macklin, man, he was just so special, so complex. I thought that he did great at performing in this movie, and I think it helped that he was already put through this program, so he basically knew the ins and outs in it already. And I would really just want to look up interviews with him. I think probably he has a lot of interviews out discussing this movie, and I'd want to look up how he thinks what should be changed in this world and how the RTA program does help each other, because he lived that program, and I thought he did a terrific job in this movie. He might be my favorite performance in the movie, but him and Colman Domingo just work so well together. We'll talk about the Oscars for a little bit, because this is going to be, of course, one of the big players. It's going to get nominated for Best Picture, probably Best Actor for Colman Domingo, Supporting Actor for Clarence, and I would say Adapted Screenplay. I'm not too sure on Director at the moment. I think Picture, though, I think it is my pick for Best Picture and what would win at the moment. Still haven't seen Anora yet, but I just don't think Dune Part 2 is going to win Best Picture. I think this is just, it's more that moving story, that really Oscar story that you really think that would win. It's a true story too, so it's like a no-brainer there. I think Colman Domingo, he's my favorite, one of my favorite performances of the year so far. So is Clarence Macklin. I think they're both amazing, and that screenplay just carries the movie. It keeps going and going. It mixed with the comedy, mixed with the drama, mixed with so much sadness. I thought it was mixed very well. So look for this one at the Oscars for next year. It is going to be a big player. Overall, Sing Sing is a masterpiece and the most moving film of the year. I was pushed to tears many times because how tender it all felt. The RTA program proved how life-changing it is to these prisoners, giving them humanity, and the themes of art being discussed here was perfect. Colman Domingo, Clarence Macklin were both terrific, some of the best performances of the year. So I'm going to give Sing Sing a perfect 10 out of 10. As I said, it's my second favorite movie of the year. I was just moved so much by this. I cannot wait to own this on physical media and digital, probably coming out in a couple months. And so if you can't see it in theaters, really do recommend checking this one out in digital or even purchasing it. It is such a great story to learn about this RTA program, to learn about it's helping prisoners and helping them for the better and changing their lives. I thought it was just a beautiful movie, and I think that if it does win Best Picture, I think it is going to be purely deserved, and it's going to be one of the best movies of the year for anyone that watches it. I thought it was overall perfect. So that is my review of Sing Sing. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments. If you did enjoy my review, though, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 800 subscribers, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.